The sun was just beginning to rise, casting a warm glow over the winding country roads as Emma gripped the steering wheel of her modest sedan. At 32, she had always been the underdog in her husband's affluent family, a mere assistant at a prestigious law firm, and today she was about to face the ultimate test of her strength. Beside her sat Margaret, her mother-in-law, a woman whose icy demeanor could freeze the sun itself. "Emma, do watch the road," Margaret's voice sliced through the silence, laced with the familiar tone of condescension. "We wouldn't want to end up in a ditch before reaching the estate." Emma swallowed hard, the weight of Margaret's judgment pressing down on her like a heavy fog. She had found the letter tucked away in her wallet that morning, its envelope marked with her late father-in-law's distinctive handwriting. "For Emma, open after I'm gone," it read. The words burned in her pocket, a reminder of the man who had seen her for who she truly was, beyond the small-town girl who had stolen his son Daniel away from a more suitable match. "Everything will be fine, Margaret," Emma replied, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "Daniel will meet us there." Margaret adjusted her designer's scarf, a gesture Emma had come to recognize as a prelude to another critique. "I suppose you're used to these rural roads, though I must say it would have been more appropriate for Daniel to drive me." Emma clenched her jaw, fighting the urge to snap back. The 2-hour drive to the family estate felt like an eternity, and with each passing mile the tension in the car grew thicker. She could feel the letter burning a hole in her pocket, but she wouldn't dare open it with Margaret watching. As they approached the grand gates of the estate, Emma's heart raced. This place had never felt like home, despite Daniel's insistence that it would grow on her. The mansion loomed ahead, a symbol of everything she had struggled against. "Try to park properly, dear," Margaret said, her voice dripping with disdain. "The gardeners get so upset when anyone disturbs their precious flower beds." Emma took a deep breath, allowing herself a moment to breathe before stepping out of the car. Today was the day everything would change, and she was determined to face whatever awaited her inside. As Emma stepped out of the car, the crisp morning air filled her lungs, but it did little to calm her racing heart. She spotted Jake, an old family friend and lawyer, waiting by the entrance. His warm smile was a welcome sight amidst the coldness of the estate. "Emma, may I have a word before you head in?" Jake asked, his voice low and serious. "Prime, of course, Jake. Is everything all right?" Emma replied, her stomach twisting with anxiety. He glanced around, ensuring no one was listening. "Your father-in-law left something for you, in addition to the letter." He pressed a small key into her palm, its cool metal feeling heavy with significance. "It's for the study safe behind the painting of the old oak tree. He wanted you to see it before the reading." Emma's mind raced. "But I don't understand. What could he have left me?" "Trust me, Emma, and whatever you do, don't let Margaret know you have this," Jake warned, squeezing her shoulder gently. As he walked away, Emma stood frozen, the key burning in her hand like a secret too heavy to carry. She could see figures moving inside the mansion, gathering for what everyone assumed would be a simple reading of a traditional will. But something in Jake's eyes, the weight of the key, and the unopened letter in her pocket told her this day would be anything but simple. Taking a deep breath, Emma made her way toward the house, her heart pounding in her chest. The study felt smaller than she remembered, crowded with family members who seemed to be doing their best to avoid looking at her directly. She managed to slip away briefly before the reading, using the key Jake had given her, but the safe was empty except for a single note. "Patience, little bird." The murmurs of the family brought her back to the present as Leon, the family lawyer, stood behind her father-in-law's massive oak desk, looking every bit the proper lawyer in his tailored suit. "Before we proceed," Leon began, adjusting his glasses, "I should note that there have been some recent amendments to the will." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Emma's heart raced as she exchanged glances with Margaret, whose perfectly maintained smile twitched with disbelief. "Amendments?" Margaret's voice was sharp, her eyes narrowing. "When exactly were these made?" 2 weeks before your father's passing," Leon replied, removing a thick envelope from his briefcase. "All properly witnessed and notarized, I assure you." "Get on with it then," Margaret snapped, her impatience palpable. Leon cleared his throat and began reading. To my beloved wife, Margaret, I leave our residence in the city and an annual allowance of... The words blurred together as he read through the standard bequests. Art collections, properties, trust funds. Everything expected until... He paused, his eyes flickering to Emma. To my daughter-in-law, Emma. I leave my controlling interest in the Evergreen Foundation, effective immediately upon my death. The silence that followed was deafening. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she processed the words. That's impossible. Margaret's voice shook with barely contained rage. There must be some mistake. I assure you, there isn't, Leon replied, producing another document. Mr. Grant was very specific about this provision. Margaret's face turned pale, and Emma felt a mix of shock and exhilaration. She had been given a chance to prove herself, but at what cost? As the tension in the room escalated, Emma realized that this was just the beginning of a battle she never anticipated. The room was thick with tension as Emma processed the implications of her father-in-law's will. Margaret's face twisted in disbelief, while Sophia, her sister-in-law, stood with her arms crossed, a smug smile creeping onto her lips. This is outrageous, Margaret exclaimed, her voice rising. Emma doesn't know the first thing about running a foundation. She's just a glorified assistant. Emma felt the sting of Margaret's words, but she refused to let them break her. I may be an assistant, but I've worked hard in my career, and I've learned a lot about managing projects and finances, she replied, her voice steady. Hardly the same as running a charitable organization, Sophia chimed in, her tone dripping with sarcasm. You've been living off my brother's success, and now you think you can just waltz in and take over? Enough. Daniel's voice cut through the chaos, firm and commanding. He stepped forward, his expression a mix of frustration and concern. Dad believed in Emma. He saw something in her that you both clearly don't. Margaret scoffed. What did he see? A woman who can't even keep up with our family's expectations? Emma's heart raced as she felt the weight of their judgment. She had always been the outsider, the one who didn't belong. But now, with the will reading, she had a chance to prove herself. Actually, I think it's time for me to show you what I can do, Emma said, her voice rising with determination. I'm going to make sure the Evergreen Foundation fulfills its mission and helps those in need. I won't let you two undermine that. Margaret's eyes narrowed, and Emma could see the gears turning in her mother-in-law's mind. You think you can just take control and everything will be fine? You have no idea what you're getting into. I'll learn, Emma replied, her resolve hardening. And I'll do it with or without your support. As the reading continued, Emma felt a surge of adrenaline. She was determined to uncover the truth about the foundation and ensure it was used for good. But first, she needed to gather information. After the reading concluded, Emma excused herself, her mind racing. She slipped away to the study, the keys still heavy in her pocket. She had to find out what her father-in-law had left for her. Inside the study, she quickly scanned the room, her eyes landing on the painting of the old oak tree. With trembling hands, she moved it aside, revealing the safe hidden behind it. The combination clicked open, and her heart raced as she pulled out a stack of documents. Among them, she found financial records, correspondence, and a note from her father-in-law. Patience, little bird. The truth will set you free. Emma's breath caught in her throat. This was it, the evidence she needed to confront Margaret and Sophia, but she also knew she had to be careful. They wouldn't take kindly to her digging into their affairs. As she left the study, she spotted Jake in the hallway. Emma, is everything all right? He asked, concern etched on his face. I found some documents in the study, she replied, her voice low. I think there's something wrong with the foundation's finances. Jake's eyes widened. What do you mean? I need your help to investigate. I have a feeling Margaret and Sophia have been mismanaging funds, Emma said, her determination growing. Let's meet tomorrow and go through everything, Jake suggested. We'll figure this out together. Emma nodded, grateful for his support. As she walked back to the main room, she felt a sense of purpose. She was ready to fight for what was right, not just for herself, but for the legacy her father-in-law had left behind. The next morning, Emma met Jake at a small cafe near the estate, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. She felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as she sat across from him, the documents spread out on the table like pieces of a puzzle waiting to be solved. "Okay, let's see what you've got," Jake said, leaning in as Emma handed him the stack of papers. As he flipped through the documents, his brow furrowed. "These financial records are concerning. It looks like there are significant discrepancies in the foundation's accounts. Funds have been diverted to personal accounts, and there are several large withdrawals that don't have any clear purpose." Emma's heart sank. "I knew it. Margaret and Sophia have been siphoning money from the foundation for their own gain." Jake nodded, his expression serious. "We need to gather more evidence before we confront them. If we can prove that they've been mismanaging the funds, we can take action." Emma felt a surge of determination. "I won't let them ruin my father-in-law's legacy. We need to act fast." Over the next few days, Emma and Jake worked tirelessly, digging deeper into the foundation's finances. They uncovered a web of deceit, with Margaret and Sophia at the center of it all. Emma felt a mix of anger and sadness as she realized how far they had gone to protect their interests. One evening, as they were poring over the documents in Emma's living room, Jake looked up, his eyes wide with realization. "Emma, I think I found something. There's a pattern to these withdrawals. They coincide with major events in the family. Birthdays, anniversaries, even vacations. It's like they're using the foundation as a personal piggy bank." Emma's stomach churned. "We need to confront them. But we have to be careful. They won't take this lying down." The following week, Emma called a family meeting at the estate, determined to confront Margaret and Sophia about their actions. As the family gathered in the grand living room, the tension palpable. "Thank you all for coming," Emma began, her voice steady despite the nerves bubbling beneath the surface. "I wanted to discuss some concerns I have regarding the Evergreen Foundation." Margaret's eyes narrowed and Sophia crossed her arms defensively. "What concerns could you possibly have? You're just the assistant." Emma took a deep breath, steeling herself. "I've been reviewing the financial records, and I've found some discrepancies that I believe need to be addressed." Margaret scoffed. "Discrepancies? You wouldn't know a discrepancy if it hit you in the face." "Actually, I do," Emma replied, her voice firm. "I've found evidence of mismanagement and unauthorized withdrawals. It appears that funds have been diverted for personal use." The room fell silent, the air thick with tension. Emma could see the color drain from Margaret's face as she processed the accusation. "Emma, you're out of your depth," Sophia sneered, but Emma could see the fear in her eyes. "I'm not going to let you two continue to exploit the foundation for your own gain," Emma said, her voice rising with conviction. "This is about more than just money. It's about the legacy my father-in-law left behind." Margaret's expression hardened. "You think you can just waltz in here and take control? You have no idea what you're up against." "I know exactly what I'm up against," Emma shot back, "and I'm not afraid of you." As the confrontation escalated, Emma felt a surge of adrenaline. She was ready to fight for what was right, and she wouldn't back down. "Let's take this to the board," Emma proposed, her heart racing. "We can present the evidence and let them decide." Margaret's eyes flashed with anger, but Emma could see the uncertainty creeping in. "Fine," she spat, "but you'll regret this." As the meeting concluded, Emma felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. She was stepping into a battle she never anticipated, but she was determined to see it through. The day of the board meeting arrived, and Emma felt a whirlwind of emotions as she entered the grand conference room at the estate. The long, polished table was surrounded by family members and board members, all eyes fixed on her. She could feel the weight of their scrutiny, but she was determined to stand her ground. "Thank you all for coming," Emma began, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. "I've called this meeting to address some serious concerns regarding the Evergreen Foundation's finances." Margaret and Sophia exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of disdain and apprehension. Emma took a deep breath, pulling out the documents she and Jake had meticulously compiled. "I've discovered significant discrepancies in the financial records, including unauthorized withdrawals and mismanagement of funds." As she laid the documents on the table, she could see the tension in the room escalate. These funds were meant to support our community, not to line the pockets of individuals within this family. Margaret scoffed, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "And what would you know about running a foundation, Emma? You're just a little assistant playing dress-up." Emma felt her heart race, but she refused to let Margaret's words deter her. "I may be an assistant, but I've worked hard to understand the intricacies of this organization. I won't let you exploit it any longer." Leon, the family lawyer, cleared his throat, trying to regain control of the meeting. "Let's hear what Emma has to say. If there are legitimate concerns, we need to address them." Emma nodded, grateful for Leon's support. "Thank you, Leon. I've compiled evidence showing that over the past 3 years, nearly $500,000 has been misappropriated from the foundation. I have statements from banks and records of transactions that clearly indicate this." As she presented the evidence, she could see the color drain from Margaret's face. The room was silent, the gravity of the situation sinking in. Emma continued, "I believe it's crucial for the integrity of the Evergreen Foundation that we conduct a full audit and investigate these discrepancies." Sophia, trying to regain control, interjected, "This is all just hearsay. You have no proof that we did anything wrong." Emma's heart raced as she prepared for the next step. "Actually, I do. I've enlisted the help of an independent auditor who can verify these findings. If we don't act now, we risk losing everything my father-in-law built." Margaret's expression hardened, and Emma could see the wheels turning in her mother-in-law's mind. "You think you can just come in here and take over? You have no idea what you're doing." "I may not have your experience, but I have something you don't. Integrity," Emma replied, her voice unwavering. "And I'm willing to fight for what's right." The tension in the room was palpable as the board members exchanged uneasy glances. Finally, one of the older board members, Mr. Thompson, spoke up. "I think we need to take Emma's concerns seriously. If there's even a chance that funds are being mismanaged, we owe it to the foundation and the community to investigate." Margaret's face twisted in anger, but she knew she was losing ground. "This is a witch hunt. You're all being manipulated by her." But Emma stood firm. "I'm not here to manipulate anyone. I'm here to protect the legacy of a man who believed in helping others. If you truly care about the foundation, you'll support this audit." After a tense silence, Leon finally spoke. "I propose we move forward with an independent audit of the Evergreen Foundation's finances. If Emma's claims are substantiated, we will take appropriate action." The room erupted in murmurs, and Emma felt a surge of hope. Margaret and Sophia exchanged furious glances, but the tide was turning against them. "Fine," Margaret spat, her voice low and dangerous. "But you'll regret this, Emma. You have no idea what you're getting into." As the meeting concluded, Emma felt a mix of relief and determination. She had taken the first step toward restoring the foundation's integrity, but she knew the battle was far from over. In the days that followed, Emma worked closely with the auditor, gathering more evidence and preparing for the inevitable fallout. She was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, fueled by the belief that she could make a difference. The days turned into weeks as the independent audit of the Evergreen Foundation commenced. Emma felt a mix of anxiety and determination as she worked alongside the auditor, Mr. Harris, a seasoned professional with a reputation for uncovering financial misconduct. Together they combed through mountains of paperwork, scrutinizing every transaction and course. "Emma, look at this," Mr. Harris said one afternoon, pointing to a series of transactions on his laptop. "These withdrawals coincide with several high-profile family events, but there's no record of how the funds were used. It's as if they were simply siphoned off without any accountability." Emma's heart raced. "I knew it. They've been using the foundation as a personal bank account." As they continued their investigation, Emma discovered a pattern of deceit that ran deeper than she had initially thought. Margaret and Sophia had not only mismanaged funds, but had also created fake invoices for services that were never rendered, all while presenting a facade of philanthropy to the community. One evening, as Emma reviewed the documents at home, she stumbled upon a particularly damning piece of evidence. A series of emails between Margaret and a contractor discussing inflated invoices and kickbacks. Emma's hands trembled as she read through the correspondence, realizing the extent of the betrayal. "This is it," she whispered to herself, her heart pounding. "This is the proof I need to confront them." The next day, Emma called another family meeting, her resolve stronger than ever. As the family gathered in the same grand conference room, she could feel the tension in the air. Margaret and Sophia entered, their expressions a mix of defiance and apprehension. "Thank you all for coming," Emma began, her voice steady. "I have new evidence regarding the Evergreen Foundation's finances that I believe requires immediate attention." Margaret crossed her arms, a smug smile on her face. "What more could you possibly have? You're just grasping at straws." Emma took a deep breath, holding up the printed emails. "Actually, I have proof of collusion and fraud. These emails show that you and Sophia have been inflating invoices and misappropriating funds for personal gain." The room fell silent as the weight of her words sank in. Emma could see the color drain from Margaret's face, and Sophia's smug expression faltered. "Those emails are taken out of context," Margaret shouted, her voice rising in panic. "You can't trust anything she says." "Actually, I can," Leon interjected, stepping forward. "Emma has been diligent in her investigation, and if these emails are legitimate, we have a serious issue on our hands." Emma felt a surge of confidence as she continued. "I propose we take this evidence to the authorities. We can't allow this kind of corruption to continue under the guise of charity." Margaret's eyes narrowed and Emma could see the anger boiling beneath the surface. "You think you can just destroy our family's reputation? You're a fool, Emma." "I'm trying to protect our family's legacy," Emma replied, her voice unwavering. "Your actions have put everything at risk, and I won't stand by and let it happen." As the confrontation escalated, Emma felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. She was ready to fight for what was right, and she wouldn't back down. Finally, Mr. Thompson spoke up, his voice calm but firm. "I think it's time we take this matter seriously. If there's evidence of fraud, we owe it to the Foundation and the community to report it." Margaret's face twisted in rage, but she knew she was losing control. "You'll regret this, Emma. You've no idea what you're getting into." "I'm not afraid of you," Emma replied, her voice steady. "I'm doing this for the right reasons, and I won't back down." As the meeting concluded, Emma felt a mix of relief and determination. She had taken a significant step toward restoring the Foundation's integrity, but she knew the battle was far from over. In the days that followed, Emma prepared to take the evidence to the authorities, knowing that it would be a difficult and potentially dangerous path. But she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, fueled by the belief that she could make a difference. The day Emma decided to take the evidence to the authorities was filled with a mix of dread and determination. She knew that this was a pivotal moment not just for her, but for the Evergreen Foundation and the community it served. With Jake by her side for support, she gathered the documents and prepared to face the consequences of her action. "Are you ready for this?" Jake asked, concern etched on his face as they sat in the car outside the local law enforcement office. Emma took a deep breath, her heart racing. "I have to do this. If I don't, Margaret and Sophia will continue to exploit the Foundation, and my father-in-law's legacy will be tarnished forever." As they entered the building, Emma felt a surge of adrenaline. She approached the front desk and explained the situation to the officer on duty. After a brief wait, they were ushered into a small conference room where Detective Miller awaited them. "Thank you for coming in," Detective Miller said, his demeanor professional yet approachable. "I understand you have some serious allegations regarding the Evergreen Foundation." Emma nodded, her voice steady. "Yes, I've uncovered evidence of financial misconduct, including fraudulent invoices and misappropriation of funds. I have documents and emails that detail the extent of the wrongdoing." As she laid out the evidence before him, Emma felt a weight lift off her shoulders. Detective Miller reviewed the documents carefully, his expression growing more serious with each page he turned. "This is quite serious," he said finally, looking up at Emma. "We'll need to conduct a full investigation. Can you provide us with any additional information or contacts that might help?" Emma nodded, providing the names of board members and other individuals who could corroborate her findings. "I also have a list of transactions that I believe warrant further scrutiny." "Thank you, Emma. We'll take it from here," Detective Miller assured her. "You've done the right thing by coming forward." As Emma and Jake left the police station, a mix of relief and anxiety washed over her. She had taken a stand, but she knew that the fallout would be significant. In the following weeks, the investigation unfolded, and the truth began to surface. Margaret and Sophia were called in for questioning, and the evidence Emma provided was undeniable. The community was shocked as news of the financial misconduct spread, and the board members who had once supported Margaret began to distance themselves. Emma received a call from Leon, who informed her that the board had voted to remove Margaret and Sophia from their positions. "You did it, Emma. The foundation is going to be restructured, and we'll be implementing new financial oversight to prevent this from happening again." Tears of relief filled Emma's eyes. "Thank you, Leon. I couldn't have done this without your support." As the dust began to settle, Emma found herself at the helm of the Evergreen Foundation, a position she had never anticipated. With the help of Jake and the remaining board members, she began to rebuild the organization, focusing on transparency and community engagement. One afternoon, as Emma sat in her office reviewing new proposals for community projects, she received a visit from a local journalist, Sarah, who wanted to cover the story of the foundation's turnaround. "Emma, your story is inspiring. People need to know how you stood up against corruption and fought for what's right." Emma smiled, feeling a sense of pride. "I just did what I felt was necessary. The foundation is about helping others, and I won't let anyone compromise that mission again." As the article was published, Emma's story resonated with many in the community. Donations began to pour in, and volunteers stepped forward to support the foundation's initiatives. Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose as she worked to create programs that would truly benefit those in need. Months later, during a community event celebrating the foundation's revitalization, Emma stood on stage, looking out at the crowd. She felt a sense of belonging and fulfillment that she had never experienced before. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, her voice strong and clear. "Together, we are rebuilding the Evergreen Foundation, and I promise to uphold the values that my father-in-law believed in. This foundation is for you, the community, and I am committed to ensuring that it serves its true purpose." As the crowd erupted in applause, Emma felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She had faced her fears, stood up against corruption, and emerged stronger than ever. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been transformative. With Jake by her side and a renewed sense of purpose, Emma was ready to lead the Evergreen Foundation into a new era, one built on integrity, transparency, and a commitment to making a difference in the lives of others. Thank you for watching today's video on Revenge Bound. We hope Emma's story has provided you with valuable lessons about perseverance, courage, and standing up against injustice. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on more exciting stories to come. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Join us next time as we continue to explore thrilling journeys filled with twists and surprises. Remember, life can be challenging, but with determination and belief, we can overcome any obstacle. Thank you and have a fantastic day.